one of the things you get in your kit, toolkit, is a unjamming and undo this. 3/4 inch just fit perfect. You know, so if you got SAE, you don't need metric. So you'll put this in here to unjam and use it to rotate the drums to see where the chipper is. But we'll do that tomorrow. Well, one of the things that I did was I took the cap off. Well, just loosened up. It's hanging down here, and you get this wrench for spinning the shaft in case you get a jam or whatever. But I'm using it now to check the clearance of the clearance of the blades in here. So they're a little off. I was checking down in here, and it's a little loose on this side. This is an old AARP card, so I figure it's the same as, but it's tight over on this side. So I get the fun and games of adjusting it. So let me take the camera off the tripod and show you what I've got to do underneath here. As you can see, there's the 5 bolts that feed through, that hold the anvil bar in place, and then underneath you've got these, there we go, you've got these screws for adjusting. So I've got to loosen up the nuts and adjust. Actually, I found it's a 16 millimeter. I was going to try to get my socket assembly in there, but this is only 3/8 drive, and by the time I get it up to where it'll fit, you know, my 1/2 inch drive wrench, it's too thick to make it over here. But a 5/8 wrench works fine. I'll just go in and bust them loose a little bit. They're on bushers and lock nuts, so they shouldn't move around too much. Just get them up to where they're loose there. So now I'll have to shimmy underneath and loosen up the nuts on those things and then tighten up. I'll come back when I'm in the process. Well, I have it pretty even across there now. I don't know if you can see that over my shoulder or not. Just rotate it, and it gives me the same kind of scraping noise. And just a little bit of resistance there. So I'm going to see if I can tighten everything back down now and have it set. Well, let me rotate it over. We'll come back. I'm going to rotate it over to the other knife just to make certain. I knew on both, when I checked them before, this side was tight on both of them. So the knives hopefully are going to be square in the drum, that the anvil is the only thing we have to change. We'll come back. Well, I'm on to the other side, and this corner over here is a little tighter than I would like, so I'm going to have to screw in the ones. This takes an 8 millimeter hex. Let me get the outside one. And that's jamming up on that side. So that knife is setting a little different than the other side. So this one was tight. I'll be back. Okay, got it to where it's just pretty even all the way across. Let me roll it around again and see if I'm still good on the other side, and then we'll start tightening down again. Well, it seems pretty uniform on both sides now. So let me go ahead and finish tightening this down, and that will be one less thing to do. And we can go on to something else. I have to say though that the drum feels, the bearings feel smooth. So I don't have to worry about that. Well, one of the things they say to do is tighten the anvil, the 35 foot-pounds. This is the last thing you want coming loose into that spinning blade. I'm going to back this off a little bit just to be certain that this thing is okay. I always like to start off light and then work your way up. Okay, what do we had here? We're about 30. Let's go. Nothing like. There's 30. Okay. Okay, we'll go up to 35 off camera. I'm pretty safe on that now. Now we can go ahead, put this back on and tighten it down. And I'll roll this thing around so we can, I'm going to check the belt. And it just has to be friction tight because the nuts back in here carry the load of the, these are the ones that are torqued on the bearings. So onward and upward. Well, it takes a 10 millimeter to pull off these, loosen up the nuts, and it's just a lift up. Set that someplace where it won't scratch. Okay. I was wondering how this was. It's got a, over time, because you got the centrifugal clutch up here, over time, I was going to say, if anything's going to die, it's going to be this thing. And whether or not you can get a replacement part for, probably. But boy, there's a stack of washers in behind here for a spacer. Yeah. And this, whenever you get belts, let me get you up here closer. It's in there, yeah. You want to be able to get matched pairs. When you buy them, these are going to be a matched pair. You don't just buy these singly, they come as a matched pair kit. So, and supposedly this is a good brand. The best dork, I guess. So, and there should be a The other grease zerk's right here. Oops, you can't see what I'm doing. The other grease zerk's right in here in the front, the same as the other one is. So they say they greased them, but I don't feel any grease. I mean, they're dry. I can't imagine them putting grease in and then rubbing it down with some sort of cleaning fluid. I just don't see that happening. And the other thing I was wondering about was to get the thing out. I hadn't seen this plate, so I was wondering whether or not you had to pull out the shaft from the bearings, but this whole end comes off, so you'd pull off the other side first, and then everything would come out this direction. So I'm gonna give it a couple squirts of grease. I don't care what they say. It just doesn't look like there's any grease on it. Yeah, I just had my flashlight down in there, and I don't see any evidence of grease. There, couple squirts. Can't hurt. They have on the side of the case, it says a maximum deflection of 3/8 of an inch. Excuse me. End up right. I guess if you tighten it up on this nut down there, if you need, yeah, can you even see that? On my finger, yeah, there's a nut back in here on the shaft that would tighten the spring up. So okay. I had to go raid the toolkit out of my truck, and these things I bought when I bought my '63 Volkswagen in 1965. And this is a 7mm. Well, before we start sticking on all the chutes and everything, it's time to fill it with oil. And I got my standby. I use this in pretty much everything, mainly because you look on the back here, it's Jazzo MA rated, so it's good for my Caterpillars and for my motorcycles and scooters and lawnmowers. It says it's supposed to come up to within an inch or a quarter of an inch of the base of this. And right now it's just a hair below, and I think I'm just going to let it stay there. Yeah, close enough for government work. Oh, I'm going to roll this thing outside and attach all the other parts to it. Come on. Some of these things have oil fills on the top, and this one doesn't, so be nice if it did. And then we've got our rotating nozzle. Loosen this nut up. Whoa! Well, that's interesting. This one keeps it in on one side, and this one, that's strange. Okay. Be cognizant of that if you come out too far, just get it to where it'll move around, but don't unscrew it so much that it comes off. That's an eye opener. Okay. Got that on. I'm surprised. I would have thought they would have had maybe another weld, and there's a big gap in there that. Yes. No big thing. And then this adjusts. I should probably loosen this up a little bit. change that out. It's a bolt that's tapped into the pipe. So I guess you could probably get something like this and stick in if you wanted to. Depends on how much it needs to be done. So let me move this forward. I'm going to take this thing outside to put on the other chute.